James Ball is political editor of The New World, no longer The New European. They are branching out. Very, very good morning to you, James.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you for joining us. Should we be rolling the red carpet out for Emmanuel Macron, the French president, who has basically done everything he can to try and scupper Brexit, to punish, not the British government, British people for a democratic vote back in 2016 and again in 2019 to get Brexit done? Has done nothing to help us on any of those fronts and is a lame duck president with less than 2 years in office. Should we be rolling the red carpet out to him and giving him state banquets and dinner with the king?
I mean, as much as we should be rolling out the red carpet for anyone, we do it because we think we'll get some advantage out of it. So let's see if we get some advantage out of it. But if we can hold our nose and do it for Donald Trump, I think we can probably hold our nose and do it for Emmanuel Macron, can we not?
But for you, the thing is, Keir Starmer and you would not be holding your nose for Emmanuel Macron because, he's one of us, isn't he? He's so pro-EU, he's favour of every single international global organisation. You agree with him on everything. But isn't the interesting thing that Keir Starmer and Emmanuel Macron, both extraordinarily unpopular and unsuccessful leaders in their own countries, is that what they've got in common?
I mean, I think Emmanuel Macron's an amoral sellout. I think he's tried to appease the far right, and he's got to reap the reward for that because it's only made them more popular. I think.
How did he try and appease the far right?
I think he's shown how those sort of tactics fail.
How did he try and appease the far right?
Some of his rhetoric on the Muslim population in his country, some of the rhetoric on immigration, etc., backed up with ineffective action. I think he's sort of shown the difficulties of establishment politicians trying to talk like populists and then act in reality. I'm no fan of Emmanuel Macron, but
maybe he'd be more
the cost
popular.
of doing business is to invite people you don't like or that you don't.
But maybe both men would be more popular with their populations, their far right voting populations, if they didn't just talk the talk and they actually walked the walk and did something about it.
Well, I think it's a lot easier to talk the talk than walk the walk.
Yes, but you're saying they're trying to appease the far right.
As well.
But obviously they're not, because apparently the far right, which has the views of actually the majority of the population of both countries and indeed most of Europe, which is they don't think we should have open borders and have unlimited arrivals from the third world. I mean, this is not actually it may be something that you absolutely love at the New World. You think no borders whatsoever. Come on in, let's share Britain's wealth and our lives with everyone who wants to come here, regardless of their values or links to this country. That's not what most people think. I hate to tell you, James.
It's absolutely not far right to want closed borders. It's absolutely not far right to be worried about immigration. I think all sorts of people worry about that for all sorts of good reasons. I think what is far right, and I think what too many mainstream politicians play into, is people who suggest there's some kind of sinister planned Muslim takeover, there's plans to change population, there's problems with particular ethnic groups.
There are problems with particular groups.
There's problems within every ethnic group. I'm not saying there are no issues there.
No, there are very specific criminal problems and cultural problems with some specific religious and ethnic groups that you don't have with others.
And
the fact that you don't even acknowledge that is part of the problem.
That's not an argument to say we won't let people in from certain countries or who are from certain faiths. It's not. We look at people as individuals. We look at people on a case-by-case basis. Is that not the principles of liberalism?
Well, yes, and yet constantly I'm told we need to talk about the, quote, Muslim community or the gay community, the trans community. The left talk about communities and not individuals all the time.
Well, I'm a liberal, and I'm saying I want to talk about individuals.
Yes,
so
I think we should very much not allow people from third world alien cultures who don't share our values to the country. Yes, I think that's a pretty sensible policy, which most people would agree with.
I mean, if I only let people that shared my values, you'd probably be on the first or second boat out, Julia, and that would be very sad.
Well, I mean, again, what values do you share? I mean, I'm talking about values like belief in, freedom of speech. Well, yeah, maybe you don't share that one. I don't know. Personal liberty, equality between men and women, gays and straights, people's right to, to basic freedom, choose their religion, to leave a religion, join a religion, marry who they want. Those are pretty basic values, I would suggest.
I mean, they're
not values shared by some communities in this country.
Well, who's talking about communities now? I mean, look, there's lots of people who don't share all of those values. I mean,
Let's import more of them. That'll make it better.
We allow it.
That'll make
anyway. Liberalism extends to allowing Emmanuel Macron in, and if we have to pay for his dinner, we have to pay for his dinner.
I don't mind paying for his dinner if we get something in return, but we've already paid £771 million. That's a very expensive canapé. That's all I can say. We paid all that money to try and get the French gendarmes to actually do something about the huge number of people who are arriving in France and who are setting off from Calais to come to Britain. Now, we've not seen any particular success there. You know, they stop a few boats, so they build bigger boats, and they put 50 people on instead of 30. We've seen a massive increase in the number of people coming to our country. Now, you've got pull factors, you've got push factors. But there's talk about this one-in, one-out deal that Keir Starmer hopes to agree this week. We know that the other European Union countries are not very happy about it because they're wondering, well, if you send migrants back to France, are they going to be sent from France back to Italy or Greece or Spain? And we don't want them either. But what do you think of the one-in, one-out deal? Do you think that would work? Do you think that would be something that would do Britain good?
I mean, look, I can see why everyone looks at it and scratches their heads. I mean, what it does sound like, you look at it and say, what's the point? What's the point of taking one in if you just kicking someone out if you get one in? But France has to think there's something in it for them. Europe has to think there's something in it for them, because otherwise it's quite good for their migration if they're worried about their own politics to just go, yeah, sure, get on to England. We won't stop you. You can sort of see why we have to make something in it for them. Someone explained this one to me and basically said the idea is that someone crosses, a lot of the people who cross the border are economic migrants.
No.
They're not actual refugees.
No.
They're not chasing persecution.
James, you far-right racist, you.
I will say things that are true. And the idea is that people who cross like that will be swapped for people who are much more legitimate asylum seekers who have had their stories back-checked, who've
also paid people smugglers to get to France.
But essentially, the idea there is that, firstly, it gives you a reason to make small crossings not work for economic migrants. They get turfed out quickly. They don't get to England. It stops them crossing. And if you get a legitimate person and they're processed fast, they can work after they're processed. So we're not paying for them. We're not paying for their housing. We're not paying for them to go.
We'll be paying for their housing.
Look,
they'll be on low incomes.
No one says it's perfect. The logic is it's a bit better.
Wouldn't it? It is.
It processes faster.
It may well be a bit better on paper. I can see that argument. However, in practice, given how bad Keir Starmer is at making deals, he'll probably be. Do you know what? He'll probably end up paying Mauritius £9 billion in return for the deal of the one-in, one-out migrants from France, because he's that bad a deal maker. He'll probably give away, his firstborn child to Emmanuel Macron. Probably give away his wife, for goodness sake. Might be too young for Macron. I don't know. But genuinely, the chances of Keir Starmer doing a good deal, when every deal he's done so far, whatever it is, whether it's train drivers, pay, you name it, this man is no good at making good deals for this country.
We've got an okay trade deal with the US. You know, where we are with tariffs is a bit better than other places. I don't love it. Mauritius, it is what it is. I don't think we can say, you know, politicians have to try something, we need something, and then shoot down anything before it's tried. Well, let's give it a go. Let's see if it works. Let's see if we can get the deal, because as you say, a lot of the rest of the EU doesn't like it.
Okay.
And the fact that they're sort of going, hang on, this could be a problem for us, suggests that they think there might be some deal that works for the UK in it.
Well, although the main thing for them is that they don't want them leaving France. They'd rather they were in Britain rather than sent back to Italy. Just finally, very briefly, President Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, on a state visit to America in the White House, he surprised, we're told, Donald Trump, who's blushing like a little bride. It was like a Southern belle when he discovered that Netanyahu has nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. Think that's a fair nomination?
I mean, it tells you how little a nomination makes. Any Pol Sci academic, any MP, anyone could nominate for it. I think Julian Assange has been nominated most years. But if you've got a friendly academic, if Matt Goodwin was still at a university, he could nominate you.
He is at a university.
But yeah, get somebody you like, and you can rival Donald Trump for the nomination.
I'm going to insist that I get a nomination. Did you make the same complaints about how worthless it was when in 2009 Obama was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize and later won it, even though the nominations closed within 11 days of his inauguration, so he hadn't done a single thing?
I mean, I went on to do quite a lot of journalism about how he led to a lot of drone deaths and then massive civilian deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan.
So he shouldn't have got it either.
So he absolutely shouldn't have got it, no.
All right,
well,
then.
there's quite a lot of war criminals who've had that particular prize, so maybe Trump should get it.
James Bull, come on again. It's always fun. Critical editor of The New World. Thank you for that. That cough there from Tom Slater saying, bring me in. Come back in on whatever you want to come back in on.
Well, it's a reminder, isn't it? Basically the grubby business of politics. And it's something that people like to pretend they're above when they're outside of government. So you saw this with Keir Starmer. So many of his cabinet members willing to kind of posture against, particularly Donald Trump. Obviously,
David
much more friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, you were hard pressed to find any member of the front bench who weren't, hadn't blithely compared him to a KKK leader at some particular point. But you get in and you've got to deal with the realities of it, and that's one of the things where, even though it's quite unseemly sometimes, and I think probably Starmer could have gone away about it with the Americans, which wasn't quite as toadying, picking up his papers and so on, handing him the handwritten invite to the state visit. It's just the nature of doing
handwriting, great handwriting.
So again,
realpolitik, you have to do
and
it.
politicians, drop in the moralising as soon as they get into the door number 10.
Maybe just don't do it in the first place, and then you won't find yourself in that situation.